I got to document it to make sure I'm protecting my ass. Fucking kid. Never said it again to anyone else. Magnificent. I got a bunch of other kids that they'll fill out these things, or people will ask them, hey, how you doing? And my kids will be like, well, I don't want to lie to them. And they'll be like, sometimes I don't want to be alive. You don't have to tell your professor this in your meeting with your professor to go over just correct your homework and talk about that. Well, they asked me how I was doing. And then they sent you to the students, and then they send you to me. Go ahead.
This is the counterpoint when you convince people with autism to disclose. And Alex Plank talks about this in his interview. I'm not sure it made it into the film, but he's like, I have to tell people, you don't have to disclose everything to everyone all at once, right? If you just can't find your way to the building, you can just say, I'm lost. Can you help me find the building? You don't have to tell them your history of diagnosis, the medications you're on, it's like,
Professor, I need some help with these questions. Oh, okay. Which ones? What do you got questions about? My sexuality. What?
So it started at the age of 6. Like, no,
right.
No.
Right. Totally.
And that is the darndest thing. And I get it. They're mandated to make sure that they tell the dean of students. That way they can check in on the kid. And then they usually check in with CAPS to see like, hey, is this kid in treatment or not? And so I'll get the kids. I'm like, okay, so we need to work on who you talk to about what. And if there is some suicidality, then you come to me or these designated people that we've shown you to talk to that are safe, that aren't going to immediately report you, that are still like mentors or like other counselors. So it's a lot of navigating of who to disclose to, like you said. We've got this thing as therapists, which you may or may not know, is we usually err on the side of caution. We think you're going to harm yourself or someone else.
Of course.
We got to make the report and like file it. We got to hospitalize you. But when you're talking to someone that's autistic, saying certain words doesn't mean that they have legit intent to harm themselves. You got a master's degree. You've been working for years. You should be able to discern, is that student a threat to themselves, or do they just need to be regulated, have a treatment plan, have some resources, have some guidance? So now they're no longer like suicidal, passively suicidal, but sounds actively, because they have support. Kids will leave my office. I'm like, are you good? Wait, you going to do anything weird tonight? I'm going to follow up with you tomorrow. I'm being sarcastic, but like, that's literally what you're doing. Suicide prevention by treatment planning, by resources, by programming, like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are we going to do? I want you to repeat it back to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Nas. End of the session. What are we going to do? They have it in their head. This is the program. And that's how my mind works too. Some of my students get pissed off because like, Nas, you're repetitive. I'm repetitive so it sticks in your fucking brain. I'm repetitive because when the safety plan is needed, you'll remember what the safety plan is. I will save your life. They're like, oh, okay. So back to what Caitlin, we just had the podcast released, the therapist, is this restructuring how therapy is done when it comes to suicidality, homicidality, especially when talking to neurodivergent folks, is sitting and assessing instead of hospitalizing immediately. If you got to do it, do it. But you could traumatize them more. They might not talk and speak up anymore to anyone else because they know what's going to happen. So now they suffer in silence. Sometimes them psychiatric places are not the best places. Sometimes you're going to be in there with folks that are like severely mentally ill, or it's going to be a lot of like drug rehab stuff. And if you're sending a little white girl in there, all right, a little tiny kid in there, a 17-year-old in there with grown ass men, that is traumatizing. I have students going to inpatient therapy, hospitalization therapy, and they're like, nah, it's holy shit. I will never tell anyone anything ever again. Like, well, what did we just do? So I wanted to speak on that when it comes to suicidality and also homicidality. There's a way to suss it out. It takes patience. It's just like the teachers you talked about, Eric. Are you providing better care? Are you actually showing up for the kid and being humanistic? Are you giving them a little bit extra time to, oh, you said that one trigger word. Ah, shit. Call 911 on you. I'll call on Dwayne, man.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
All right.
So that was my little spiel about that. I think we can do a better service to students or clients, be more specialized and be more attentive in those extremely sensitive areas. I'm gonna kick it to Spence to do the wrap up or ask you any questions. Erik, you got any sauce or anything? But yeah, I'll kick it to Spence.
Yeah. I mean, want to give us some plugs to what's happening next, to the podcast, to where people can find you?
Yeah, I mean, everything's on our website, which is autismgoestocollege.org. We've got an online resource center there. You can watch the bulk of the stories that are featured in the documentary. You can see there for free. You can read blogs about students blogging about their college experience. And you can get every episode, 36 episodes of our monthly podcast.
Okay.
Our award-winning podcast. We won a Webby Award for the podcast and the film. Gold Anthem Award for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We're very proud of that. Nice. And then we're going to be building out this back page of that website for Beyond College, where you can start to see stories start to populate about autism in the workplace. So that's the hub of everything. Definitely, if you're a family with a high schooler or you're a current college kid with autism and you want tips, tricks, and hacks for navigating college, we hope that we can be of help. We're on social media. We're building our TikTok. The one thing that's unique about our TikTok is we're not just posting our original content, but we're trying to be a town square for the conversation already happening there from neurodivergent students. So we're reposting other people's, both professors, but students, everybody who's a stakeholder in that. So check us out there and follow us to get more.
What's your handles?
So Autism Goes to College.org on YouTube. It's Autism Goes to College. Instagram, it's at Autism Goes to College movie.
Okay.
And TikTok is Autism Goes and the number 2 college.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, we're gonna make sure we add you, and then we're gonna start tagging you in some stuff. And
tag away.
I'm gonna push some students to maybe share their stories because I talk to like 90% autistic folks. So
no, I mean we're interested. We're always scouting current college students who want to come on and tell their stories on our podcast. So please source us some podcast guests. We're especially looking for women, and particularly women of color. We feel like we have a ton of white men that have come on our podcast. TikTok seems to be more female dominant, so we've been sourcing some guests from there, but we're always looking for that added diversity. So if you have anybody that fits that bill, please send them our way. Yeah,
I'll have them reach out or maybe do that vlog thing that you talked about and then tag it too. Hey man, I'm appreciative that you responded and then because you emailed me back like legit within minutes, and I was like, holy shit.
But that's the ADD. If it had gone beyond 2 minutes, you would have never gotten an email.
Yeah.
Yay.
He emailed me back. I was like,
I either respond right away and I'll literally stop. I could be in the most important meeting and I'll still send that email up, because if I don't, it's never happening.
Hey, I felt like I was special. I was the prettiest girl in the fucking room. I was like,
well, let me tell you, Mr. Linthorst, let me tell you.
I'm just so glad you responded.
Your email was like squirrel, Oh,
I'm glad it was. I'm glad it was, man. We just did one with an awesome director, right? He just won like an Emmy out there in California. Then we meet with you. I'm trying to connect with this professor out in 90% sure it's South Florida. She's doing autism, but jujitsu and teaching jujitsu. It's a completely different thing, a little bit more masculine. Obviously, they're not kicking each other's ass the entire time, teaching a lot of other things. I'm trying to get more educators and more directors, more storytellers than just like neurodivergent therapists and content creators. So like when I saw this thing, I was like, I got to reach out to you because I fucking loved it. So thank you.
Awesome. Yes. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you once again. And we would love to have you back on, maybe even for, your next movie.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
All right. Thank you, Erik, for coming on. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm Spencer. That's Nas, Different Spectrum Podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
Completely up to you.
Hey, thanks for watching this video.
Check out the full episode on our channel and anywhere you find podcasts. Also, remember to like and subscribe. Whoop whoop.